has arrived. And what I mean by that is that, 15 years ago, if Suzanne had stood up there and said, our topic today is going to be corporate volunteering, we would have been, what? What is that? And the good news is that it has arrived. We understand it to be a component that supports business, so it belongs there, and it's here to stay, I think. So that's great, but then the next question that pops up is like, well, is it doing anything? It exists. Is it really doing anything for the community? Is it doing anything for the business? And also, more importantly, what does it need to look like in order to ensure that it does something? And we have a much better answer today to that than we did last year, thanks to Bank of America, which supported this research. What comes out are 6 drivers of effectiveness. And my lovely assistant will hold that. So 6 drivers of effectiveness. And each driver has indicators. And so each driver is, here's what the evidence says needs to be true if you want your program to be effective. But then the next question is, well, how well are we doing? Now that we know what we need to do, are we doing it? And the answer is not very much. So the other part of the research there is that we went to Fortune 500, so these are US companies, to Fortune 500s, and we found out how well they were doing with these drivers. And on average, Fortune 500s are meeting these drivers 26%. So what that tells you is that if 100% represents the maximum good per current knowledge, the knowledge that we have right now of what employee volunteer programs or corporate volunteer programs can do for the community and the business, then we are 1/4 of the way there. We have 3/4 of the way forward to go. And what I'd like to talk about is how we get there. What's this last 3/4 and what's getting in the way? What's the next big question out there? All right, so here's what we're going to do, a quick exercise here. All right, so bear with me here. So you're going to imagine that you work for this company, and this company tells you, now you can go out there and volunteer on any cause, anything you would like to volunteer for, and you can do it for 2 days a year on company time. So now, if this sounds like a good program that you as an employee, not as an employee volunteer or corporate citizenship or public affairs person, but just as a regular employee out there, if this sounds like a good idea, go ahead and stand up. If you would participate as an employee, so just go ahead and stand up for a moment.
Me too.
All right, I'll stand up too. Okay, so if you as an employee would participate in this, go ahead and stand up. Okay, all right, so we got most of the room. Okay, so now, what's wrong with the rest of you? No, just kidding. No, we're going to hear from, there are good reasons to stay sitting. I don't want to do that. Okay, so now you do it the first year, you're in this program, you go out there and you volunteer and on company time and you love it. And now it's the second year of the program and the company says, okay, you can continue to be part of this program, but we're going to focus the program now, and now, I don't know what you were doing, you may have been helping animals or, children, but now you can only take time off to volunteer during work if it's for adult financial literacy. So if now you're not so interested in the program, go ahead and sit down. If you're still interested in the program, stay standing, okay? Okay. Great. Okay, so we lost a whole bunch of others. So now it's the third year of the program. And the company says, you know what? This program is going so well, only 10% of the employees are participating, but this is going really well. Now we want to just make sure that this program is really strategic. So go ahead and do your financial literacy training for adults like you did last year. But now we're gonna administer a pre-post and a pre-test and a post-test, and we're gonna share those results with your supervisor. So now, would you still be involved, or would you sit down? Probably not. Okay, everybody go ahead and sit down. Okay, and I'll sit down too.
Yeah.
So those of you who stayed sitting down and those of you who sat down, you were absolutely right. That what you did is absolutely right. But here's the problem. What the company is doing is also absolutely right. You know, as we make employee volunteering or corporate volunteering more strategic, and you know, I wrote this report, so I'm picking on my own report here, but I think we run the risk of compromising and maybe even corrupting what volunteering is. And so, you know, employees, you know, this is an oversimplification, but I think it's true in a lot of cases, they show up and they want to volunteer in something they care about that has an emotional connection to them. The company needs to do out there in the community to be strategic what it's good at doing. That might not be what employees care about. The company needs to plan things. The company can't show up as an expert in every issue that employees care about, and yet companies should be involved in the areas that they know about, because that's where you can do the most good. So really, we have this tension there on, you know, the more strategic we get, the more we might, insult, in a sense, the concept of volunteering that employees bring to the workplace. And our employees show up and they say, you call this volunteering? My whole department is going. What am I going to do? Be the only person at my desk? You're forcing me to volunteer. Volunteer should be voluntary. That's one thing. You call this volunteering? Volunteering should be completely altruistic. This is for a business gain. You know what? They're right. This isn't really volunteering. It does have a business aim. We are twisting their arms. We're not letting them do what's most passionate for them. We are really twisting the concept, and I think we've twisted it enough that we should just call it something different. And one of the best terms in English that I like is an IBM term, which is corporate service. They have this corporate service core, and I thought that is such a perfect term.